You've been listening, haven't you? Listening for words. For declarations. For confessions wrapped in sentences that begin with, I love you, and end with promises of forever. And maybe, in the quiet hours, you've asked yourself, why won't he just say it? Why won't he speak his truth like I do? But, my love, what if I told you he has been speaking all along? What if his silence is not the absence of love, but the presence of it, unfolding in a language you were never taught to recognize? Come closer, beloved. Let me show you the hidden dialect of the divine masculine. Let me help you hear what your heart has always sensed, even when your mind couldn't translate. This is not just about understanding him, it's about honoring the sacred balance between how he gives love and how you receive it. Because he's speaking in actions. And those actions are his soul's whisper to yours. You've probably noticed it, even if you didn't recognize it as love. The way he instinctively places his hand on your lower back when you're in a crowd. How he quietly hands you a blanket when you're cold. The way he listens to your stories, even if he's not always sure how to respond. These are not random behaviors. They are his version of, I love you. For many men, especially those still unlearning the armor they were raised to wear, verbal vulnerability feels dangerous. Words can be messy, uncertain, and frightening. But action feels safe. It's tangible. Measurable. It's the way he's been taught to create safety, express loyalty, and show care. You might be longing for deep, emotional conversations. And you deserve them. But don't overlook the way he brings you your favorite drink without asking, or the way he makes sure you get home safe every single time. These are not just habits. They're sacred acts of devotion in his native emotional language. He may not say, "You're my home." But watch how he looks at you when you laugh. Watch how he chooses you, over and over again, even when the world pulls him in every direction. To the feminine heart, acts of service might seem practical or even unromantic. But to the masculine, these are his sacred vows. When he repairs something that matters to you, when he insists on walking you to your car, or when he wakes up early to make sure your day starts smoothly, it's not just caretaking. It's love in its most grounded, loyal form. The awakened masculine shows love by becoming a provider of comfort, a protector of peace. It's not just about material security, it's about emotional reassurance. He wants to do for you what he might not yet know how to say. This doesn't mean you should stop longing for words. But it does mean that when you see him quietly solving problems, lightening your burdens, or making you laugh just to ease your stress, that is love, alive and present. Even if he can't say, "You matter to me," in so many words, his hands, his time, and his choices are already whispering it. Now let's talk about the moments when he pulls away. When he goes quiet, not out of disinterest but out of overwhelm. Those times when it seems like he's shut the door, emotionally, just when you're leaning in closer. It hurts. I know. But here's the truth many forget: the masculine often carries emotional wounds he was never taught how to name. He's been raised in a culture that equated vulnerability with weakness. Somewhere along the line, he learned that being emotional made him less of a man. So instead of expressing his heart, he learned to hide it behind silence or distraction. This doesn't mean he doesn't care. It means he's afraid. Afraid that if he opens up, he'll lose control. Afraid that you'll see the parts of him he spent years trying to manage or hide. Afraid that his love won't be enough. His distance is not always about you. Sometimes, it's about the parts of himself he still hasn't made peace with. So when he retreats, try not to chase. Instead, hold the space open. Let your steady presence become the proof that he doesn't have to speak perfectly to be heard. That he doesn't have to be healed to be held. This is the grace of the divine feminine. You don't fix him. You see him. And that seeing is what transforms everything. You crave connection through words, and that's valid. But there is something profoundly powerful about learning to hear him without needing a sentence to confirm what your heart already knows. Sometimes, his quiet says more than his voice ever could. It's there in the way he checks in on you without saying, "I'm worried." In the way he shows up to your life even when he's exhausted. In the way he remembers the little things, not because they're important to him, but because they matter to you. He may not know how to explain what he feels, but he watches you closely. He notices your shifts. He feels your pain. He might not name it, but he honors it in the way he chooses to stay. You don't have to give up your need for words. You simply get to expand your understanding of what love looks like when it chooses consistency over poetry. Reliability over drama. Presence over promises. His silence is not always a wall. Sometimes, it's an altar. This is where your power rises. Not in changing him, but in translating him. You, as the divine feminine, are not here to twist yourself into knots trying to pull words from him. You're here to receive the ways he already gives. To recognize his gestures as sacred offerings, even if they don't come wrapped in eloquent declarations. When he cooks for you without being asked, that's his, "I see you." When he adjusts your car mirrors before you drive, that's his, "I want you safe." When he sits next to you in silence, not needing to fix your tears, that's his. You don't have to go through this alone. It's not about lowering your standards. It's about seeing from your higher self. Hearing through the soul instead of the ears. Loving with the eyes of intuition, not just expectation. You are the one who can feel what he cannot say. And that's not a burden. It's a gift. Here's the quiet miracle you may not be expecting: the words do come. Not because you demanded them, but because you created the space where they could safely rise. Because you stopped chasing them and instead became a sanctuary for his truth. One day, when he feels safe enough in your presence, safe enough in himself, he'll speak. He'll tell you that your patience undid him. That your understanding softened places in him that even he had forgotten. He'll find the words, not because he was forced, but because your love invited them home. And when those words finally fall from his lips, they'll land like sacred scripture. Because they will be earned. Honest. Real. And entirely his own. But until then, let his actions speak. Let them be enough, even as you hold space for more. So here you are, two souls speaking different dialects of the same sacred language. You, with your rivers of emotion. Him, with his mountains of presence. It's not about translating everything into words. It's about recognizing that love, when real, finds a way to speak through everything. He has been speaking, beloved. Every action. Every glance. Every effort. He's been trying to tell you that you matter. That he sees you. That he's choosing you, not just in big moments, but in quiet, ordinary ways that the world doesn't applaud. You've just needed to hear him differently. Now you can. Now you will. Because he's speaking in actions. And he always has been.